Jacob has finally returned to Canaan, but his reality is a mess. His household is fractured, and they are living in daily fear of retaliation after his sons carried out a violent massacre on the inhabitants of the city of Shechem. He has escaped his enemies and returned to his homeland, but the debt of a decades-old promise still hangs over him. He remains in transit, unsettled, until he fulfills the vow to meet God at Bethel. Suddenly, God gives him a direct order to pack up for Bethel. Jacob's response is drastic. Realizing his camp is full of stolen loot and pagan idols, including the household gods his wife Rachel took from her father, he orders a total purge of his camp. They physically bury the idols in the dirt under an oak tree. As the family marches away, the biblical text notes that a terror of God falls over the surrounding Canaanite cities, paralyzing them and granting Jacob's vulnerable family safe passage. You cannot construct a new nation on top of pagan relics. To step into his destiny, the physical baggage of Jacob's past had to literally go into the dirt. The family arrives safely at Bethel. Jacob builds the stone altar he promised decades ago, and God appears to him once again to confirm the covenant. This animation illustrates the theological weight of what happens next. The name Jacob, which carries the meaning of an individual deceiver or one who grasps the heel, transforms into Israel, meaning one who wrestles with God. This is an official promotion from a singular man to a national identity. The scale of the blessing God delivers matches the new name. He promises that a vast company of nations, along with a direct lineage of kings, will emerge from him. The blessing has shifted in scale. God is no longer speaking to a solitary nomad about his personal future. He is outlining the birth of a company of nations. The covenant has moved from a family promise to a national blueprint. But the spiritual high of Bethel crashes almost immediately. As the family journeys past the hillsides of Ephrath, seen here in the ancient ruins of Bethlehem, Rachel goes into sudden, agonizing labor. This specific birth is a massive historical milestone. It is the 12th son. The mathematical blueprint for the 12 tribes of Israel is physically realized the moment this child takes a breath. Yet, completing the family costs Rachel her life. With her dying breath, she names the boy Ben-oni, which translates to son of my sorrow. Jacob steps in immediately and overrules her final wish. He renames the child Benjamin, meaning son of the right hand, or a son of strength. He refuses to let the final pillar of Israel carry a permanent label of grief. Israel's structural completion arrives at a high cost. Jacob finally has his 12 sons, but the process of bringing the last one into the world took the life of the woman he loved most. Almost immediately after bearing Rachel, the text delivers a blunt, ugly shock. Jacob's oldest son, Reuben, sleeps with Bilhah, his father's concubine. Any lingering illusion of patriarchal purity is shattered. Right after Reuben's betrayal, the biblical text stops all action. It simply lists the 12 sons, dropping them into the official record one by one. This structural pause signifies a permanent shift. The family tree stops growing and locks into place as an architectural grid. The roster is finalized. The patriarchs are no longer a handful of heroes. They are a complex, deeply flawed collective. The messy history of a nation has begun. Jacob's lifelong physical journey finally concludes where it began, at Mamre and Hebron. Here, surrounded by the massive stone walls of what is now the Cave of the Patriarchs, he finally reunites with his ancient father, Isaac. Isaac's life comes to a quiet close at 180 years old. The text simply notes that he dies old and full of days. Over his grave, we get a powerful, silent image: Jacob and Esau, twin brothers who spent their lives as bitter enemies, standing shoulder to shoulder in peace to bury their father in the cave of Machpelah. It is a perfect historical parallel. Decades earlier, Isaac and Ishmael set aside their differences to bury Abraham. Now, Jacob and Esau do the exact same thing for Isaac, closing the generational loop. Genesis 35 functions as the Bible's definitive hinge. The generation of the solitary, wandering fathers is sealed in the tomb. When Jacob walks away from the cave, he is no longer walking alone. He is followed by the 12 tribes that will carry the name Israel into history.